Hello, everybody. My name is Sebastian. I am a senior program manager on the Microsoft Graph team. And today is going to be the first of a couple. We don't know exactly how many, but we want to go through all of the features that one of the tools we offer as part of the Microsoft Graph program, which is called the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. We want to go through all of the features, the components, different providers to really give you kind of a head start when you're building applications using Microsoft Graph data, especially all your web applications. So today what we're going to do is we're going to get started with the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. We're going to look at some resources that we have, some of our documentation, our playground, a high-level review of all the different components. And then afterwards, the next couple of sessions, we're going to go a little bit deeper in each of these components, the providers, and all of that. So let's start with potentially the question you're asking yourself is, why do I see a giraffe on my screen right now? So let's go a little bit deeper and talk to you about what is the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. Microsoft Graph Toolkit is a collection of reusable framework-agnostic components and authentication providers for accessing and working with Microsoft Graph. The components are fully functional, customizable, and they work with any web framework on all modern browsers. So what does it mean exactly? It means that the toolkit is for you a super simple way to get access to data that lives inside Microsoft Graph and glue that data or pin that data inside your web applications. You might be using Angular, you might be using React, you might be using any type of HTML framework. We work with all of them. You might be using your own web app, you might be using your own Teams application, or even SPFx framework web part, and you want to bring some of that data. Well, we work with all of them. So during the couple of next weeks, we're going to really cover all the breadth and depth of the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. Something really important, it works everywhere. As long as you're on the web, you're good to go and you're fully covered. But why would you use the Microsoft Graph Toolkit? First of all, if you are like me, and I love to say that, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but I'm lazy. I'm a developer and I'm lazy. I don't want to build and rebuild again and rebuild again the same components over and over. I want to be able to leverage a library of controls that delivers the value that I'm expecting, but also that brings all the fully functional value out of it. So for example, in the case of the Microsoft Graph Toolkit, I just want to add some UI components in just a few lines of code. I don't want to go and start building it, caring about performance, caching, batching, authentication, all of that. No, I just want to bring the UI components and work with them right off the bat. I also want to build something that is beautiful but is flexible. And then again, I'm very lazy. And on top of that, as a developer, I'm not the best designer in the world. So when I'm using the Microsoft Graph Toolkit, I'm using a library of controls that look like exactly the Microsoft 365 experience. So when I have the Microsoft 365 experience in my app, it means that my users are used to these experiences, are used to the behaviors that underpin these components. But sometimes, like any app, I want to customize just a little bit, or I want to fully customize the entire experience. So what does it mean? Well, it means now that you can have the basic experience, the basic M365 experience as part of the toolkit, but also where you can add your own CSS and your own templating on top of what we provide. Finally, it works everywhere. The Graph Toolkit is based on web standards. We're not specifically using one UI framework like React or Angular or any other. We are using web components, which are part of the web standards. It works on any modern browser with any modern frameworks. And what does it provide you is the fact that you can use it in any type of apps that you're already building. So you don't have to relearn a new framework. You don't have to migrate your entire app to a framework to be able to leverage just these parts of the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. No, it's bring the toolkit as part of your existing app and you are ready to go. That's really cool, by the way. Let's go through a little bit of the components that we have here. First of all, we have the login component. The login component is just an HTML tag, as you can see at the bottom, mgt-component, that is a simple button, also offers a flyout to know who's the user that is connected, what is maybe the role of that user. And this is where the magic starts. It automatically facilitates all the Microsoft Identity Platform authentication. So this is where you're going to go in and log in to your underlying backend system, in that case, which will be Microsoft Graph, that is secured by the Microsoft Identity Platform. So that's the first component that we offer. The second component that we offer is the person component. The person component really brings the data about either the currently connected user or any other user, and it displays their photos, their email address, and a bunch of other person details, the title of that person, and it could even be customized information right there. Again, the only thing you have to do to bring that to life in your app is to drop in the MGT-person component inside your application, and automatically, well, you're going to see the person component light up and have all of that richness that brings the cached version of the picture, the title, the email address, even the presence of your user in Teams right now. So really, really successful component that we have right there. On top of this, we also have the people component, where we can add multiple people in a single representation, like the following. So the MGT people brings the kind of any group information or any type of users in there, like a face file, where you can see all of them. Think about maybe you're inviting people to a meeting and you want to see everybody that was invited. This should be a good scenario for you. Or you want to see all the persons in your organization. Well, you can just add a group or even the entire org to see all of them right there. Very customizable. You can use the MGT-people component. You drop it in and automatically you can work with this. The person card. The person card is, for me, the most significant usage of the Microsoft Graph Toolkit because of the value it provides. Everywhere when you're in M365, you always have that super rich person card where you can see who that person reports to, maybe the current files they're working on, the emails you have with that person, some information about their profile. Well, here, you can actually do this here. You can bring that person and have the full expanded experience where you can see the contact, the phone number, the location, who they report to, their files, their skills, their experience, by just dropping that super simple MGT person card to the screen or to your app. So the MGT-person-card component is, I think, one of the easiest way to deliver value right in there into any of your app. And I see some questions. I'm going to go back to the question right after the couple of slides that we're going through. People Picker. People Picker is a rich component that allows you to do searching for people. So you can target the People Picker to be your organization. You can be for a specific group or for a set of groups. Maybe the people that are around you. And here, you will be able to pick these people. Think about maybe you want to start or you want to invite people to a meeting and you're using that control to identify all the people you want to have in the meeting and automatically create the meeting via Graph. Or you want to start a site and automatically create a site based on these people. So we provide the search experience, but also all the flyout that enables you to search with the type ahead automatically in there. The Teams channel picker. You might want to have an app and you want to select where you want to send a message. Or maybe you want to add a tab to a channel via Graph. Or you want to do any type of channel-related operation. But here, we offer you the way to bring a Teams channel picker within your application, and where you're going to be able to take that information and share it and send it to that channel. The agenda. Who doesn't live within their agenda? So we offer a way to see an agenda in a very visual way. What are the meetings, times, who are the attendees of that meeting? And you can even provide extra information and even redefine the templates to make it look exactly like you want it to be. You can also change your query to bring your entire day or just your next agenda item. Lots of different configurations that can happen right there. Planner tasks. Planner tasks are great. We have an MGT task component that enables the users not only to view, but also to act on tasks by adding, removing, completing, or even editing tasks from Microsoft Planner. So you can just drop that component right there. You're going to be able to add tasks, specify to which plan you want to add this task, and automatically it will be great to have it in your app right there. And we have the exact same component that lives within the to-do task that brings it exactly within the Microsoft To-Do. So that's a very personal component, so it only works on the user, but it provides that richness to have a task management component that you can drop on any type of surface on the web. The file component. File component is used to represent files that live either in SharePoint or OneDrive, and we can display a lot of the information like the file name, the date, the author. You can even customize which information you want to see there, the icon of the file. You can also do this with folders. You can also use the expanded version of the MGT file, which is called file list, which brings a lot of files together in a single pane, like the following. The MGT file list is basically allowing you to browse files right in there. And since our latest release, you even have the ability to upload files by dragging and dropping straight onto that canvas and automatically upload the file in the corresponding folder that is serving these files. So really, really, really rich experience with the file and the file list. Now, let's say you're building an app, and your app might have some of these scenarios built in, or maybe not all of them, right? So what do you do? Well, we have the master of all the components, which is called the get component. The get component allows you to get literally any type of data within Microsoft Graph. So, for example, you see we don't have a messages or an inbox type of component. Well, you can build it. So we have this entire templating engine that you can use to say, okay, I want to get this resource within Graph, in that case, /me/messages. I will need mail.read, so I will need some scopes and some consents to that specific scope. And I want to iterate through all of my emails and show them right in the UI, like this. So how great is this? How powerful can this component be? We believe this is the way to work. You can build your own, and even if you are building this within React, you can even add your own React components to actually serve the rendering of that get component. Let the get component do the authentication, the call to Graph, the caching, and all of that, and afterwards passing the data to your React component. We're going to come back to that in a future videos right there. So I see a lot of PCF comments in the chat. This is amazing feedback, by the way, folks. I'm happy to hear this. It's something that we have in mind, the back of our mind around PCF, on how we can bring the Graph Toolkit there so you can leverage it inside your own Power Apps over there. It's something we have in mind. I'll be happy to share more when we have something specific, but I'm happy to hear that there's a real need for your application. So that's really, really cool. Let me show you something very quickly before we jump on to the next presenter. I want to be respectful of their time. So let me go here and show you some of this right here. So now I'm bringing a browser. A couple of really powerful tools that we have on the Graph Toolkit is, first of all, where do we start? First of all, we're going to go aka.ms/mgt, MGT for Microsoft Graph Toolkit. So this is our repo. The Graph Toolkit not only is an awesome tool, but it's also fully open source. So what does it mean? Well, it means that you can use your own skills. And if you want to build some of our components, you're more than welcome to join our community on GitHub. You're also welcome to log in any of the issues that you're going through. And if you want to bring code to ourselves, I like bug fixes or whatsoever, you can absolutely do that. So that's really kind of our home base for the Graph Toolkit. The second thing you might want to do is aka.ms/mgt/docs. This is our full documentation on our Microsoft Graph Toolkit. That's where you're going to know how to use the components, what are the different attributes, what are different events, how you want to do advanced styling, customizing, the templating, all of this. You're going to have all of this, like how to get started with Toolkit for React and Toolkit for SPFx, build your first app, the different providers we have, all the components, and how you can customize these. We're going to go through a lot of these documentation in the next few weeks, but I wanted to at least mention the aka.ms/mgt/docs. Another one that I really, really love is aka.ms/mgt/dev. So what does it mean? This is our, let's call it our playground. This is where you can start and really play around with our components. So let's go and let's look at, for example, the MGT person component that we have. So here you have a visual representation of all the components, right? On the left, you can see all of them. You can see different ways. For example, all the person. Maybe you were living in a right to left environment. We both provide these two. So you can play around. But here, which is really cool, this is like a full playground where you can play around. So I can say, hey, you know what? Here I don't want to have 2 lines. I want to have 3 lines. And now automatically, this is going to get updated, and now I see a 3rd line. In this case, it's going to be the title of the person that will show up right there. When you want to go, you can click on Docs, and automatically you're going to see all the different attributes that you can use. So for example, here I see show presence. That's really cool. So let's go back here. Let's go back to our canvas, and I'm going to add show presence. And now, well, it looks like we might have an issue here around my user, but you see it adds automatically a presence. And if the user was connected, in this case, the user is offline. If the user was connected, it would automatically get that user to be green or red or yellow or away or whatsoever. So you can really play around with this and even totally change the way that you want to build your application. So this is a great example of how you can get started with the Microsoft Graph Toolkit, because you don't have to install anything. You don't have to get anything in any apps, any connections, any consent, any admins or whatsoever. This is really kind of the best way to start. So let me go back to slides where we're going to cover the next steps. In our next session, we're going to cover a couple of things here. The first one, we're going to do a lot of components deep dive, where we're going to look at all the components and settings to create stellar apps. We're going to really, really play around some of these components, starting with the login component, and afterwards, we're going to go and expand on all the different components we have. We're going to go and talk about advanced topics, where we're going to customize with styles, our templating, caching, capabilities within the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. And finally, we're going to talk about integrations. So we're going to talk about React, we're going to talk about SharePoint Framework, Teams effects, multiple providers that can be hosted inside Electron, inside Microsoft Teams, and all of these really rich capabilities that really make your app feel super natural for the user that is consuming them. So a couple of references, our repo, the playground, our docs, and also our learn module, so aka.ms/mgt/learn, where you can start today to learn about the Microsoft Graph Toolkit, where we have a full example of building an app from A to Z using our Microsoft Docs and Microsoft Learn modules. So hope this was useful. Hope this excites you for the next couple of sessions that we're going to do all together. I'm happy to see that there's a good reaction from all of you in the chat. So I'm very happy, and I'm going to go through some of the comments and answer them right away. I'm going to take one question that I see that is relevant around the playground. So can you have the playground inside your tenant? You can build it. Basically, you can go take our code and run it inside your tenant if you want to. We're also working into integrating it with one of our most used tools for Microsoft Graph, which is the Microsoft Graph Explorer, where you're going to be able to connect to your own tenant and be able to play with the UI elements. That's going to come a little bit later next year, but it's something that we have in mind.
Excellent. Thank you for that one.